brothers and sisters of the sim racing community. Welcome to Sim Racing Live. Today's video is all about Automobilista 2's huge 3.8GB update and why I think it really deserves more of your time, or for you to actually bite the bullet and give it a go. Okay, so kicking things off, let's take a look at what this new update brings to the table. First, we have one of two new kart tracks added to the base game. This first one, which is called Buskarad, is a fictional track from AMS 1. It has two variations, i.e. a long, which I'm driving around here, and a short layout. I really do find this a fun track to race around, and it's a shame really that it's not real, because I'd like nothing more than to be able to take a real kart around this track. My only real, but very small gripe, is some of the trees look a little cartoonish in places. But hey, who gets to sightsee when you're racing at full speed? But as I said, it's only a small gripe, and it will have no reflection on the quality of races you have around here. Moving on to the second kart track to be added to the game, which is a real life track in Brazil called Speedland Kart Center. As you can see, we have four very different layouts to race around. Now, at the time of recording this, we don't appear to have any trackside cameras to watch your fantastic driving skills in a replay. But I'm pretty sure it won't be long until that's implemented. The AI do seem to have a little trouble getting around this tight track at times, but online multiplayer is a blast. Moving on, we have two new cars from the German Group A series, the BMW M3 E30 and the Mercedes 190 Evolution. Both cars being hugely anticipated by the community. You'll notice I'm driving the 190 Evolution in this same group race, also with the BMW. Both of these cars are absolutely great to drive and have a ton of liveries to choose from. Again, these have been added to the base game for free. Just moving away from the cars and tracks added to this update, I also want to mention that they've also added a borderless window mode, and also many new cockpit camera functions, as well as helmet camera options, but I wasn't able to use them as I primarily race with triple screens or VR. Now, if you use a single screen, then these options will have a massive effect on how you see the world ahead. Moving on again, we also have included in the base game a 1960s touring car series that includes the two cars shown here, the Lotus 23 and the classic Mini Cooper S. Now, as you can see, I'm racing in the Lotus 23, and what I will say is that how intimidatingly big the Mini feels when you're up against it in a race. All that aside though, both cars are modelled beautifully and are great fun to race with. They're not the easiest cars to race with, mind, and they're not the easiest things to control, but still a lot of fun can be had from these two cars. Also added in this update are two short versions of the Hockenheim DLC, which you can see me racing around in this clip. Now, as I said, these are both updates for the DLC, which can be purchased either as a one-off purchase or part of the Season Pack DLC. Now, a lot of people often comment that these are expensive, but really, if you compare them to the iRacing, then really there's no argument. Also, many of the DLC packs in Automobilista 2 have historic layouts to boot, which I don't believe either iRacing or Race Room provides. So again, I would argue that these are reasonably priced. So, there. Right, let's move on, as we've still got another couple of cars to get through. So, next up, we have another car added to the base game, in the shape of the mini JCW UK Series. Now, my first car was a classic minivan, and all I can say is that these drive exactly as I would have expected them to. Not overly suited to longer tracks, but put these cars in any of the shorter layouts and you're in for a great and fun race. Again, this car is beautifully modelled, both inside and out. The force feedback is also on point with this car. Now, if I'm honest, Automobilista 2 has some of the best force feedback I've ever felt in a sim. Right, we've only got one more car to cover in this update, so let's move on. So here we are, the last car in the update, and yes, it's free to everyone who owns the base game. Let me introduce you to the BMW M1 Procar series, and also my personal favourite in this update. Here's a little amazing fact. The car was only made and sold to the public for 3 years between 1978 and 1981, and astonishingly only sold 453 units. But this 3.5 litre mid-engine 5-speed car is capable of achieving 162 miles per hour, and it really is a beast. Once again, this car is absolutely beautifully modelled. It's epic to drive, and the force feedback tells me everything I need to know. There's also enough liveries to make any race look varied and colourful. The dedication, vast improvements and additions being made to this sim are really starting to shine through. I know a lot of you out there will also agree in me saying that Reza Studios released version 1 way too early. But what I would say to those still sat on the fence is that despite this being made on the Project Cars 2 engine, and despite the poor launch, this sim is shaping up and to be one of the best we've had. If you think about all the other sims out there, have any had a smooth release? It wasn't that long ago the community were up in arms about the sorry state of ACC, yet look at it today. We owe it to the future of sim racing, more now than ever, to support developers like Reza Studios, who undoubtedly show their dedication in bringing us the best possible experience they can, who also listen to the community and act on it. Now, the reverse of this is don't support the developer. Oh, and I'm happy with the new Forza Motorsport X. Now, as I said, this update was so vastly huge, I just couldn't cover everything. So I've listed it all at the end of the video, if you so wish to read it. Well, that about wraps things up. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, why not consider subscribing to the channel, or a thumbs up. If you've got any questions, or things you'd like covered in future videos, then pop them in the box below, and we'll do our best to answer them. So that just leaves me to say thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, bye bye.